So let me welcome everyone again to this second segment of Addiction and Recovery. I want to thank all of you who are listening and all those people who send comments and questions between the program. The program is every Thursday, excuse me, at 9 a.m. And I want to let our listeners know this program. I remind you that the program will be repeated again at 10 p.m. on radio and TV Jagriti. Will also be posted on Facebook and YouTube at the end of the program. We have been talking about a very troublesome issue in addiction and recovery, and that is how to get a loved one or a friend or a colleague to go seek help, to do something about their drinking and drug use. And this is difficult, very challenging, but not impossible. We have a lot of people who come to seek help. Mind you, the truth is a lot of people come under duress. They are forced. And so that after several absences from work or incidents on the job, the supervisor may say, look, you either go do something about your drinking and your drug use, or you're going to lose your job. And so that alcoholics and drug addicts respond to that. And that's not a bad thing, because something has to happen for something to happen. So while I was at Cora Hospital, the treatment facility there, I would see a lot of people coming in from the various government departments, Port Authority, the docks, civil service, and from even private enterprise being sent there under the same circumstances because their drinking was causing problems on the job. And now it had come to a head. Even the unions support this, because in Trinidad and Tobago, we consider now alcoholism and drug addiction as a disease. So companies and employers are not likely to fire a person on the first instance, because it took a lot of patience and investment a lot of times to train these workers, to hone their skills. And it is really a sad day when we have to lose them because they have a difficulty now. They have become addicted with alcohol and drugs. So that a lot of people are being sent to treatment to seek help, and they are doing well. Again, we have seen a lot of people who are stopped on the road by the police. They were breathalyzed or found to be under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and they were dragged before the court, and the magistrates are now sending these people to treatment and to Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous. And when they attend these meetings, they have to bring a letter of accreditation to show that they have been attending meetings and staying sober. And based on that, it is a very, very powerful mitigating factor in terms that the court uses to determine sentencing. So a lot of people have been able to save themselves from going to prison and get back their driver's license and all of that, because they went to AA or they went to treatment, and they are now demonstrating over time that they are staying sober. And actually, it does not only save their license and their job, but it literally in the long run save their relationships and save their lives. So it's sometimes it, as it's said in recovery circles, the worst things that we can do for an alcoholic or drug addict, this is a disease where kindness could literally kill the patient. Sometimes you have to exercise what is called tough love. And I have spoken about that in the past. However, in this instance, when you are speaking, whether you are a professional, whether you are a person of concern, a significant other, you speak from a position of care. That, look, I care about you. I want to help. I see what is happening. And, I know of places you could go to get help. So that it must, rather than be confrontational. When I was at Cora, we would call it carefrontation, where we are confronting the problem. We're not making excuses and enabling the person to continue to use, but we are confronting them so that, you would want to offer support, but you don't give an ultimatum, threaten them that, look, Because a lot of times I hear family members threaten, if you don't stop drinking, I'm going to put you out from the house. I will hear spouses say, well, look, if you don't stop drinking, I will leave you. And then he goes back and drink and they don't put him out or they don't leave. And then what happens? He realizes you're just a blowhard, you know. If you may give those ultimatums, you better be able to follow through with them. Yes, they can work, they will work. I've seen them work. But if you are not able to follow through with the ultimatums, then it becomes ineffective. In fact, you have turned it into an enabling thing. You have literally made yourself ineffective when you give those ultimatums and you can't follow through with it. So that we are very fortunate in Trinidad and Tobago that we have so many professionals, including myself, who are now have worked in this environment, who have worked in the field of substance abuse, and who understand the nature of this disease. We have so many people who are in recovery, and we have support groups. Alcoholics Anonymous, there's over 100 AA groups in Trinidad and Tobago now. There are also Narcotics Anonymous groups, there are Gamblers Anonymous groups, there used to be an Overeaters Anonymous, so that there are many, many support groups, and there are other support groups that can assist, like your church group, your temple group, your various social clubs, and now we have support groups online as well. So there's a lot of resources there. Unfortunately, a lot of people who are using are not familiar with these resources that are available, and that is why we have this program and programs similar to this. On this media house, we have other programs like Your Health and Your Wealth, that deals with health issues. There are many other programs. I must give kudos to this media house, for being community oriented, to provide these various forums and information, to our brothers and sisters, the entire listening public there, that you can get help. So coming back, you suggest to the person that, look, there are professionals, there are places that you can go and get help in confidence, and you provide them with the information. If anyone is unaware of these rehab services, these support groups and so on, I would only be only too happy to give you the information at any point in time. Now, it is very important. A lot of times, as I said at the beginning of the show, that, the program, that, a lot of family members with good intention and colleagues, we may start off handling this problem the wrong way. If sometimes we need to correct it. But we need to let alcoholism and drug addiction, unlike other illnesses, it is a disease, but it's a disease unlike others. In other instances, only the person who is sick is suffering, like with maybe high blood pressure or diabetes or one of those. But alcoholism is similar in nature, but not only the person who is suffering with the condition suffers, it is a family illness. The entire family is affected by this. And this is why treatment must inadvertently include members of the family, because they need to understand what has happened with them in the meantime while one of theirs had the problem with alcohol. There are several issues involved here, and there's a lot of literature that has been written on this subject. There's a condition called codependence, where the other family members, they neglect their own welfare, they stop minding their own business now, and they're all concerned on fixing this one member who has kind of gone berserk with it, drinking and drug use, who is bringing the family into shame in the community and all of that. So in a kind of way, the alcoholic and the drug addict takes up center stage in the family. Everybody's trying to fix their problem, and those who are not fixing are isolating and banishing that person and pretending, look, they don't exist. And this causes a lot of conflict within the family, the primary group. Now, this is unlike, and as I said, unlike other illnesses, this disease you have is a condition in which the family members now also have to receive help to understand how they have been impacted by the drinking or drug use of the person, the family member in their midst. So that while on the one hand, it is important that they be there to be supportive, to encourage the person who is trying to stop, they also need to look at their own relationship, because a lot of times the alcoholic becomes scapegoating. The whole family start blaming him or her for all the problems. If he would only stop drinking, everything would be all right. Not seeing how they might have been generating stress by scapegoating that person, by always blaming them, that they are generating sufficient stress to cause the person to continue to use. Now, I'm not blaming the family members directly, but this is a result sometimes, of the person using. They are reacting to that, to his or her behavior. So they need to become aware of that so that they will change their attitude. And that can only come from understanding the nature of alcoholism. So that in treatment facilities, there's also not only like at Coro Hospital, for instance, where I work at the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center, when the addict or alcoholic came in there for treatment, the family was also invited to family therapy sessions. So they understand how the drinking and drug has affected them. It is like the person who is using has become powerless over the drug, and that is making their life unmanageable. But the family members need to come to realize that they have become powerless over the alcoholic or the drug addict. And as because of that powerlessness, their life is becoming unmanageable. So the mother is not able to sleep in the night until the son who is drinking only comes home. The wife is not getting the money to support the family and is getting physical and emotional abuse sometimes. So there's a lot of pathology in the family as a result of one person's drinking. So that while the family it's important that they be supportive, they also need to understand their own involvement and how it has impacted them. Now, sometimes the family, or very often the family members, are unable to get the person to seek help. And I know of all kinds I know that there's this old person who told her alcoholic son that, look, she had to go to see a doctor. And she wanted him to bring her to the doctor, to accompany her. Actually, she was coming to see me, and he was accompanying her, and that was the only way she could get him to come. And I invited him to sit in, and then she started to tell me about, her diabetes and her hypertension, and but then, doc, I don't sleep in the night because this boy does drink, and that's how she introduced the whole topic. And I could see he wasn't too pleased with that, but it was an opening in the door for him. And thank God it worked out. He did admit, yes, doc, I drink, but and so happens, and so on. They call me doctor, although I'm not a medical doctor. You understand? And I was able to work with him. That was one way. I'm not saying that it's always going to work like that, but that was very innovative on her part to get him to come to seek help. And so I know of other instances, similar instances, where this guy took his brother to an AA meeting, and eventually the brother didn't stay, but he stayed because he heard what they were saying and he realized he had a problem with alcohol as well. And I read a story where a person took someone to the mental hospital and they left and he had to remain because he was the one with the problem. So there are many, many innovative ways, but there's also the tough love method. I know of This is a real case of a old lady in South who had called me, and this is a pensioner whose adult son had become addicted to cocaine and marijuana and all of that. And he would literally threaten her that she had to give him her pension money, and she couldn't deal with it anymore. And he threatened physical violence, and she was intimidated because it was just she and him living in a house now. And she decided, I advised her, go to the police because he was no longer acting as a son. He should be the one protecting her. He was threatening her. She went to the police. The police came and the police intervened, and he was taken before the magistrate. And the magistrate ordered that you either go do something about your drug use or you go to prison. And that was the turning point in his life. And I, in my own training for the position of director at the Piparo Empowerment Center, had to go for 6 months to Daytop International, which is a therapeutic community for substance abuse in New York. And I lived in that treatment facility as a patient. I went through all the same activities, the chores and all. I took the responsibility so that I could see firsthand how to operate a therapeutic community. And that was a treatment facility that was set up as an alternative to custody program. And I dare say it is something that we need to also consider seriously in Trinidad and Tobago, especially with the crime level, and knowing the fact that so many people are in prison because of drug-related offenses. We should have an active drug alternative to drug prison program for drug abusers, so that what happens, a person goes before a judge or a magistrate. Once the magistrate is informed by the probation department or the prosecution or the lawyer for the defendant that, look, this this happened as a result of involvement with drug or the sale of drugs or anything to do with drugs, the judge or magistrate can make an order. You go to jail or you go for treatment. And I can tell you, 100% of these people they will prefer to go for treatment because treatment is not custodial and restrictive as prison. We know what prison is, especially with the overcrowding and the conditions, so that a lot of people would come to seek treatment, and that has been changing. In therapeutic communities, the success rate is almost 80% of the people go there. They turn away. In fact, today I can tell you that there are patients who came to Piparo and who are now sober, and one of them, I am told, is actually running a treatment facility in Dade County, Miami, in charge of a program there now for substance abusers. So that we need to let the person know that that treatment is available, that there are intervention methods. I know some people do bring in a therapist, and it's a staged intervention where the person is confronted. We have seen this on television, but I don't know how successful. I can't say it is always successful. In the movies, it works out well. The person agrees to go for treatment. But that happens in the movies. It doesn't always happen in real life, I dare say. And like I was mentioning before, if you decide to take the tough love stance, you need to set boundaries. Like I know a lot of family members who would say to the alcoholic or the drug addict, look, we care about you, we love you, and we want to help you, right? But we will not accept if you continue to use drugs. If you agree to go for treatment, we are 100% behind you. But if you decide you want to continue to use drugs, then no, we can't support you. We're not going to cook, wash, sweep, clean, or do anything for you, or pay your bills or anything like that. You go get yourself in trouble, then you stand your bounds, as we say in Trinidad. So once you set those boundaries and you make it quite clear with the alcoholic or drug addict, then it's up to them to choose. And most of them will eventually agree to seek help in some form or the other, especially if the help is in a confidential way and in a caring manner. And this is one of the reasons I did set up this practice when I was working at Cora Hospital, because a lot of people do not want to go public with their alcohol or drug addiction problem. They don't want to go to AA meeting because they don't want anybody to know. They don't want to go to NA, they don't want to go to Cora, but they will agree to come one-on-one and sit in a confidential environment and speak to a person who understands and knows the nature of this disease. And, I have faith in my own practice here that having been a person in recovery myself, I understand the sensitive nature of dealing with an issue like this. And I would dare say that I am good at what I do. And I have been able, but for the grace of God, you know, to help a lot of people who have problem with alcohol and drug addiction. So that it takes a lot of persistence, but you have to be patient. I know a lot of people, you go and you ask a person to go to a meeting and they promise you faithfully in the morning that they will go. And when you go to pick them up in the evening, they disappear on you or they go on and get drunk. And I've heard those stories so many times. In the meantime, yes, those of you who, the helpers, the ones who care and concern the family members, you need to be selfish as well, in that you need to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you will not be there to take care of the alcoholic or the drug addict. So it means that while he may not choose to do anything, you can't let him take you down that slope as well. So that you have to be careful to take care of yourself by seeking help and support. There's Al-Anon AA groups, Al-Anon groups for the family members that can help you to deal with those things that has impacted you as a result of living with an alcoholic or drug addict. So that, as I said, help is available. We have physical AA groups, NA groups in Trinidad and Tobago. We have online NA and AA groups now that is available for anyone who is listening to this program live or who has been able to access it on Facebook or YouTube. If you have questions, you can post your comments there, or you can text me, as I said, at the number 7685925, and I would be happy to respond to you and give you whatever information that you may need to help yourself or help anyone else. Remember, alcoholism is a disease. It has been accepted by the World Health Authority as a disease, by the Pan American Health Association, by the British Medical Association, and even by our own Trinidad government, that alcoholism and drug addiction is a disease. So people don't get fired, but you get sent for help, and help is available. We have the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center at Cora Hospital. You can go there on a Thursday morning and get seen. They have an in-house program that lasts for 6 weeks. And then there are so many other non-governmental rehabilitation centers. There's the Heal House in central Trinidad at Milton Village. And there is the Rebirth House in Port of Spain that has been doing yeoman service to the community. There are those other, like New Life Ministries at Mount St. Benedict. There is Families in Action. There's the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Center at Cora. There is also the Southern Clinic, the psychiatric clinic, that sees people with substance abuse problems on a Monday at the health clinic, at the thoracic clinic at in San Fernando, which is near the Palms Club, not the Palms Club, the Naparima Bowl. On a Monday morning, you can go there as well and be seen. And of course, you can call me if you have any questions. There's Alcoholics Anonymous as well. That is also available. And there are meetings in almost every community if you choose to go to those meetings. And as I said, there are meetings online. I can give you the password and ID. If you have a smartphone and internet service, you can, without leaving your home, access a meeting in Trinidad or worldwide that you can attend. And there's a lot of young people now, especially women, who are staying sober and clean as a result of these online meetings. So I want to thank all of you for listening, and to remind you, this program will be repeated again at 10 p.m. tonight on Radio and TV Jagriti. It is also going to be posted on YouTube and Facebook at the end within about 10 or 15 minutes. And I want to remind you to join us again next week, Thursday at 9 a.m., when we'll have another program in the series, Addiction and Recovery. I also want to thank Radio and TV Jagriti and the Mahasabha Board for giving free airtime for this program. They have been doing this from the very inception, and I want to thank them again for facilitating the program and making it available to our brothers and sisters worldwide. So thank you again until next week, Thursday. Bye for now, and have a sober week.